Should I sell my home in 2026 in San Antonio or wait? This was a question that came to me this morning. I've seen people asking this over and over again. They're thinking it right now. They want to sell, they want to move, but they're not sure if now is the right time to sell and move. So I sat down and I brainstormed. I've been doing this since 2007 here in San Antonio, and I came up with a pros and cons list. Now, you'll notice there's a whole lot more cons than pros right now to selling, but bear with me and you'll see that it might be for you at the end. So interest rates are higher. That discourages buyers. So we're seeing fewer buyers month over month in San Antonio buying homes. Okay. Unless the interest rates fall, right? Marketing days, increase in marketing days is a painful thing, right? We have more competition on the market. So marketing days are higher. Interest rates are higher. Takes longer to sell. Inventory. That inventory number continues to creep up. We're seeing more homes stay in that active listing pool. Those homes that have been newly listed on the market turn into just active listings. That's where our vast majority of homes are sitting right now. They're what we call maybe the stale listings. Okay, they're not flying off the shelf right now. They're just sitting there, right? People are coming and looking and kicking tires, but we're really not doing anything with it right now. Okay, that's the majority of our inventory. We're seeing softer pricing. Okay, it's not a pricing crash or anything like that, but we're not seeing the same numbers that you would see a year or two ago, okay, with your neighbor. Okay, so if you're thinking you're locked in on a price that your neighbor got a year or two ago, most likely you're not going to get that number. Okay, your home is different. This is a different time, different circumstances. So be open-minded about what the pricing might be today. Increase in seller concessions. These are costs that are paid for on behalf of the buyer. They're not technically the seller's cost. And a lot of sellers I meet with have a real problem with that philosophically, emotionally, all of the above. However, it is a thing to negotiate in getting a home sold, especially if the market condition dictates so. So don't take it personal when you see concessions being asked for. This is part of the deal. It's part of negotiating. You may not have to pay it. It may be that you have an exceptional home that is completely turnkey. You are meticulous. You've done every single thing. Roof's done, windows are done, flooring's done. All the components are like brand new. You may not have any concessions to pay for on behalf of the buyer. However, be aware that this is something that is helping getting homes sold. And this will be a whole nother video I do there and breaking that down and how concessions actually can keep you from lowering your price too much. You actually may have to lower your price more to beat concessions. Okay, but that's whole nother video. Pros. There's only a couple here. Homes selling at 98% of ask. That's right. Right now, homes that are selling on average are selling at about 98% of the asking price. That is pretty good for a market that feels pretty miserable to a lot of people right now. Okay. Seeing less transactions. We're in a transaction crash, not a pricing crash. But getting 98% of your asking price, that is pretty darn good. Now, the last point here is if you buy, okay, if you're a seller and you're turning into a buyer at the end of it, okay, that's the plan, and you're buying back into San Antonio or any other areas around here, the question is, am I getting into at the right time? And to me, going over here to these cons now become pros for you. Okay. So if you can answer that these become pros for you, it may be to your advantage to ask a few more questions. Okay. Interest rates are higher. Okay. But you have a lot of equity. You can afford to now buy down your interest rate if you want it to, or you could ask for concessions from the seller to help buy down your interest rate for you. Okay. You have longer marketing days. So you don't have to give yourself a rash running over to a house and making a bid. You can take your time and look at it for a week or two or whatnot and make a decision on making an offer. Inventory, again, higher. So you have more homes to choose from in inventory. I would be looking at those active listings, the stale ones, because a lot of times these active listings are sitting there and haven't had a price decrease or anything. They're just sitting there waiting for something to happen. Agent may be apprehensive about asking for a price cut, even though the seller is willing to cut the price if they were presented with the logical explanation why they should cut the price. So they're just waiting for an offer. Softer pricing's not going through the roof. It's been really flat for the last couple of years. So pricing's not increasing right now. Okay. It's just kind of steady and it has softened a little bit. Okay. But we're not looking at a crash because we've got a lot of homeowners out there with a whole lot of equity. They're sitting on tons of equity. We have homeowners that have 2-3% interest rate. They're sitting on those interest rates. They don't have to sell. There's not a wave of foreclosures. You might see some headlines that say, oh, foreclosures are up 300%, 400%. Well, they're up 300 or 400% from almost zero when we had the COVID pandemic here and you could not foreclose on a property. That has changed. Okay. Now we're seeing foreclosures happen. However, it's not an alarming number of foreclosures. So that's not playing into it right now. And so put that to the side. Okay. Now, if you are contemplating still whether or not you should sell in 2026, I can offer you a no obligation evaluation, show you what your equity picture looks like, show you what your acquisition picture looks like on where you might want to go, because there's no sense in deciding to sell if you don't feel confident in where you're going to go. Okay. If there's not a whole lot of homes to choose from where you want to go and live, then there's no point in selling. But again, you can reach me at 210-260-6617 or at homevaluetexas.net. And if you enjoyed this information, check out the next video.